hhgregg was a large electronics and appliance store in the United States. For many years, people went to hhgregg to buy TVs, refrigerators, washers, dryers, and home electronics. The stores were common in the Midwest and South. By 2017, hhgregg closed all of its stores and shut down its retail business. This is the story of how that happened. hhgregg began in 1955 in Indiana. At first, it was a small, family-run store selling appliances. Over time, the company grew and added electronics like televisions and computers. The company focused on large stores with sales staff who helped customers choose products. For many years, this worked well. Appliances and TVs were often bought in person, and customers liked seeing items before buying. hhgregg stores were large. They required a lot of space to display appliances and electronics. This meant high rent, high utility bills, and many employees. As long as sales stayed strong, these costs were manageable. But when sales began to slow, hhgregg still had to pay for its large stores. The company did not reduce store size or costs fast enough when demand changed. The way people shopped for electronics and appliances began to change. More customers started shopping online. Websites allowed people to compare prices quickly. Online retailers often offered lower prices and home delivery. Big competitors like Best Buy, Home Depot, and Lowe's improved their appliance sections and online ordering. These companies had stronger supply chains and more locations. hhgregg relied heavily on in-store sales. Its online business was limited and could not compete well with larger retailers. As competition increased, hhgregg's sales began to fall. At the same time, the company had debt from expanding stores and running a large retail operation. When sales dropped, paying off this debt became harder. The company also struggled with inventory. Appliances are expensive items to keep in stock. When products did not sell quickly, money was tied up in warehouses and stores. Less cash made it harder to invest in improvements or pay bills on time. To deal with financial pressure, hhgregg tried to cut costs. The company closed some stores and reduced staff. It also tried to focus more on higher-margin products. However, these changes were not enough. Closing stores reduced expenses, but also reduced sales. Customers became less confident in the brand's future. The company's debt and operating costs remained too high. In early 2017, hhgregg filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This allowed the company to try to reorganize its finances while continuing to operate. As part of the bankruptcy process, hhgregg announced that it would close hundreds of stores. Soon after, the company decided to close all remaining locations. By the middle of 2017, all hhgregg stores were shut down. Employees were laid off, and stores were emptied. After the stores closed, the hhgregg brand did not disappear completely. The name was later used for an online-only appliance business. However, it never returned to its former size or influence. Most former customers moved to other retailers. hhgregg collapsed because it did not adapt fast enough to changes in retail. It kept large, expensive stores while customers moved online. Sales fell, but costs stayed high. Debt became harder to manage. Competition from larger and more efficient retailers increased. By the time the company tried to change, it did not have enough money or time to recover. hhgregg shows how difficult retail can be when shopping habits change. Even companies that sell important products like appliances can struggle. High costs, debt, and slow adaptation can lead to collapse. hhgregg was once a major appliance retailer, but changes in the market and financial pressure led to its shutdown.